can stop this recording and then we go live. Oh,
Okay,
perfect.
it's live now.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the boardroom. Again, tonight is the last day for this particular read. And for those who are joining us for the very first time on all our platforms, especially on YouTube, we have been looking through this book called The Mind of the Leader. And this book is written by Rasmus Hougaard and Jacqueline Carter. The mind of the leader tells us, how to lead ourselves, our people, and organization for extraordinary results. Written by the two leadership experts that I've just mentioned. This book has been extensively researched. Today, we are going to be looking at chapter 13, which says Lead for a Compassionate Organization. But before I introduce our speaker who is going to be leading us on this particular chapter, I want to just mention a few takeaways and core message for this particular book. It says here that true leadership in itself should be built on three main framework or an acronym that has been framed by the two leadership experts, which is mindfulness, selflessness, and compassion. True leadership truly begins with the mindset and inner development of the leader who is leading. To be able to lead effectively, you must first learn to lead yourself, then your people, and then finally the organization. We took this book from the beginning and it was clearly defined or divided into three parts. The first part was leading yourself, the second part was leading your people, and the third part, leading your organization. I'm going to introduce our speaker, David Ipese, who is also doubling as our support. I can see a lot of people in the boardroom. Umi from UK, Dr. Morayo from Abuja. I can also see my main facilitator, Sir Oluwatoyin Ayedun from Canada, and our legal representative from Lagos, Canada, KOS, who is currently in Nigeria. And of course, Engineer Ken. I can also see Boluwa Siferaji, who joined in first in the group. Let me walk you back to our presenter, a very young gentleman from Lagos. His name is David Ipese. He'll be leading us on chapter 13, which is going to be the last chapter of our read for this particular book. It's been an exciting journey, very insightful and very illuminating, going through every single page of this book, unpacking all the lessons, unpacking all the information that is being shared. At the end of the day, I think it's very important that we should reframe our mindset, understanding that people approach, the people centric approach is very important and key to leading people in the 21st century. We have to be mindful. We have to tailor our leadership skills towards selflessness, towards compassion. David Ipese, if you're ready, I'd like to bring you on board to facilitate this section, Lead for a Compassionate Organization. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? Uh, I don't know why my video is not visible. Is it visible to you? Okay. And this is. I hope it come up soon, but I think it's a network issue, I guess. It's a network issue because I want to. A minute, please. Let me see if I can just leave and join again if it works. Okay. I think it's a Zoom issue then. Let me just this video. Let me share my screen immediately.
Sorry, David. Another thing that happens sometimes if you have a laptop or that where you have this shutter on the camera, I don't know, maybe mistakenly if your hand has gone over it,
Straight.
might just blur the shot of the video.
Because the camera is actually on. The video is
I don't
on,
know why it's
but we cannot see you.
oh boy.
But it's okay.
Because it was on, I think previously it was on when I joined initially.
Yes.
Technical issues do happen. All right. Good evening again, everyone. Apologies for the whole issue. I think it's very technical and beyond my power. So sorry about that. So again, I count it as a privilege to be among giants and members who are timbers and calibers of their own industry. Call it uh, consulting, call it pharmacy or medicine or legal, right? I count it a privilege to be among you guys, and also it's also an opportunity to take this session because my chapter 5 that I took, it was also surrounded around compassion as well right now. So taking this one is also, it's not, I mean, it's a beautiful coincidence, but thank you so much, Princess too as well for pushing me. I will just dive right in. One thing I can say for sure, and everybody will agree with me about this topic, which is lead for a compassionate organization, or even the book in general, is that it is helping us to see how we need to put people first. It's just giving us the ability to understand how they need to put people first before any other thing. Because at the first thing, we are all human beings before we met ourselves at a place of work, before we start an organization. We're all human beings, right? And we need to understand how to, relate that with people. And so I'll just, start my slide off. Okay. All right, so the chapter starts in an interesting way with the opening of a story of a woman called Nancy, and interesting about Nancy Green rather. Her full name is Nancy Green. So she got into a company called Atleta. So this lady, she got into that company at the age of 25, and she was one of those people, got married at the early stage and also had a child. So she was even considering that, oh, now that she has a child, isn't it that her career is gone? And, good to know that she has someone who she can talk to. So she had to talk to a boss in the organization who told her it is not I mean, it's not cast in stone that you have to now leave your job and go and take care of your child. You can still do this job and still have your child, right? And she held on to that belief that she can take care of her child while still doing the job. And she has spent over years and years, and she has even emerged to a more higher role in the organization. And she's even in a C-suite right? The way they call it C-suite role, and she has over 4 kids already, right? It's just showing us that, if somebody had debunked the idea that, oh, you are pregnant at this age, what are you still doing in this company? Go and take care of your child, then come back. And you know that for sure, if a five-star company won't, they won't take that. But she happened to see someone who was able to, help her through. So I'll just, start with this. So it says, lead with compassion. I mean, as discussed in the chapter, it shows how compassionate organization cultures, foster an environment where people support one another to achieve success and happiness. Right? That is the beauty of this topic we are talking about. It's all about helping people, help them achieve their own personal success and their ultimate desire, which is for them to be happy at the end of the day. Such a culture integrates positive intentions towards others with the wisdom and professionalism they need to make challenging decisions and ultimately benefit the organization in the long run. When people are happy, when people are personally happy with your organization, when people are personally happy in the place where you work in or the place where they are working in, they would give in all their best, right? It's beyond, giving them HMO, it's beyond giving them all the, quote unquote benefits that, the HR normally, have in their offer letters. It's beyond those things. But, having that connection that, okay, this is what this person is facing, right? How can we now help them? Next slide. Um, so, goes further, this approach also, the approach of compassionate leadership, it leads to a happier, more productive employees, which in turn, benefit the company financial results, right? At the end of the day, all companies want to boost their financial income, and if the people that are working with them are not happy, are not, productive, there's no way they will achieve the financial goal that they want to achieve, right? So, what are the essence of compassionate leadership? One, the essence is that in a compassionate organization, organizational culture, people support one another's success and happiness. Just like the way I mentioned her name, Nancy, just like the way Nancy had support of her boss, right? Nobody else, I mean, if she didn't seek the support of her boss, or if her boss didn't support her, she might as well, just debunk that idea that, oh, if you want a child, you can't actually work in a company of your choice, right? But seeing someone to support goes a long way. And the second point here says, the culture fosters positive intentions towards others while instilling the wisdom and professionalism. Because I think down to where I didn't talk much about her story, but at the parts of some of her stories, she was able to also know how to also, because of someone has shown her compassion, she was able to even know how to show other compassion to her as well. Right? She was able to balance two aspects of the matrix, which is, the wisdom, that is having that wisdom to know when to balance things, to be soft and to be hard, which is on my notes here, I wrote that, you know, on one hand, she understands the intention to be of benefit to others, and on the other hand, to be wise in terms of discernment. We know when to also come in for the company, know when to put a voice that, oh, you are going beyond your limits, right? This is where you stop. This is where all the benefits that you are enjoying, that this is how you overuse it. That she was able to also draw the line with subordinates as well. And also part of the essence of compassionate leadership is that organization that care for people, for their employees' well-being, leads to happier and more productive staff, which in turn benefits the organization bottom line. And this organization, right, in the second point here, says these organizations are characterized by an environment where you can feel the compassion from the way the visitors are greeted to how employees are interacted to how employees interact, right? So, I mean, if you read the book, right, one of the first points of the leader of the compassionate organization is that nobody needs to tell you that this organization is a compassionate organization. You're stepping in, if it's an hotel, you're stepping into that place. The way they greet you, the way they smile at you, the way they carry your bag for you, you can easily tell that these people are well treated, right? No one needs to, you don't even need to you can assume the amount of salary self that they're earning, right? You could tell like the kind of lifestyle. You could even start figuring out the kind of family they have, right? You could tell that, oh, this person probably has two kids, has a husband. This person is not married. This person is planning to, do something else with their career. And you could tell, right, from the warmth, from their smile, and from the reception. It's not the one that you enter where maybe the cleaner is, looking at you somehow, and maybe the receptionist is just using one eye to eye you that, oh, who do you want to see? That kind of voice and giving you some, you know, unnecessary body language, right? You can easily tell. Next slide. I don't know why the slide is slowing down. So, one of the points here I highlighted was that lowest level employees are also respected as equal and encouraged to actively participate in the organization's success. So, there was a story of someone in the book where it shows a man called Bob Chapman. Bob Chapman is a owner of a factory company, which they are doing well. They are doing pretty well. So the one of the cleaners, right, in the organization just found out that he observed, right, and this is where it's also good for you to have an organization where people are able to freely air their opinion. Some bosses normally call that in open door policy, right? So this cleaner observed that every time when everybody is coming in, and it gets to where some people have the privilege to take in coffee and all those things, he is not given that privilege. Like he's being upset. I mean, he's being taken off. So he felt like he had to, tell the boss. And beyond that too, there are some other benefit that he wasn't getting. So, and which was quite reasonable for him to have heard his opinion or heard what he thinks. And the policy was actually shifted for this low level employee in his company. And just taking an insight from that is that, everyone should be treated equally, right? Regardless of, I know that yes, sometimes there are, ranges to it, which is true, which is right, but at least to an extent, to somewhat, right? Everyone is still human being at the end of the day, and everyone is also giving their value. If the cleaner does not clean the office, right? If your visitor come in, or if your partner come in, they won't be able to, stay inside, right? So they're also doing their part. They're also adding value to the company or the organization at large. So one of the notes I also took here that compassionate organization also focus on caring for the whole person, recognizing their health, their family, their private lives matters, and this care extends beyond the office work. So it's not beyond. It's beyond oh, I know Tola, I know this person, we just used to greet. Some people don't even have phone numbers, as bad as it is. Some people don't even have phone numbers of their closest colleague that they work with. That's, and these are one of the challenges that some people face. And these are some of the challenges that people face during this. I mean, these are some of the challenges that some people still face, right, at their own place of work. And it is just very bad. And I forget that everything starts with human feelings, human care, right? Just showing that compassion to someone, right? It really, really goes a long way, right? It really goes a long way. I have colleagues here in my company whereby some people know the house of their other colleagues, some people knows, right? So it's easier to always communicate when you don't see them at work. You're able to find out that what is going on. Some people have even the friends, they are external friends of their colleagues. So you can able to, know from them, hear from them. Sometimes it's not because of you are expecting something bad to happen to them, right? I want to believe that you can still hear me. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, okay. All right. So next slide. Yes. So once I highlighted some challenges and misconception that people still have as well, so that we just take this through, and as we are passing on, we'll be able to debunk them in our minds. That so one of the challenges and misconceptions that some people have is that while compassion is gaining traction, many organizations still adhere to the old paradigm of treating people as a tool and maximizing them for shareholders. No, right? People are human beings. People want their opinions to be heard. People want to, yeah, let them feel recognized, right? So you don't just come and say use them as tool. They are not a spanner, they are not a screwdriver, they are not whatsoever tools you use. They are also human beings. They have blood running through their system, just as you are. They have breath too that is flowing through their nostrils. And some leaders, mistakenly believe a compassionate a compassionate, people-centered culture conflicts with a healthy shareholder focused bottom line, right? It's not really about making that gray marks on the what's it called? If your company is if your company is listed in the stock exchange, it's not really about hitting the green marks all the time, right? It's not about doing those things and forgetting the health conditions, the what's it called, mental health conditions or whatsoever conditions it is about the employees. The next one is saying, high pressure can also lead to habitual long hours and lack of self-care, making it difficult to maintain a self-compassion. A compassionate organization actively helps its people practice self-care, establishing policies and environment that encourages it before tough times. One of the parts in the book also highlights where a company that's IKEA. I don't know if you know IKEA. IKEA is a furniture-based company where they make different types of furniture for homes and your sitting rooms and all that. So what they said in the book is that if you enter IKEA's headquarters, their office, right? There's a part where they have for sleeping. If you want to take a quick nap, if you want to have a reflection, if you want to have reflection, if you want to do your mindfulness and whatsoever, anything that has to do with your self-care, there's a room for it. And do you know where that place is positioned? It's just positioned at the entrance of the organization. So it's not hidden. So if you are also coming there for the first time, you will see that yes, this is a better place to be in. This is a better place to be in, right? Because of those things that you already seen that they've already conditioned your mind to see at the first instance. So you can tell the kind of employees that they have as well. So what what is the end? I mean, just like saying, what's the action, right? What's the action at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, we are all talking to ourselves. We are all leaders here as well, right? What is our take home here? That our take home here for us here as leaders is that trust matters and it impacts you, it impacts your people, it impacts your culture, it impacts your organization. So as a leader, you need to represent the strong influence on the creation of your organization culture. It is very important that the influence starts from you, right? It starts from you. It starts from you loving your own self too. It starts from you not taking things hard. Because when you are taking things hard on your own self, you would think that everybody will take things hard on themselves too, like the way you do, right? Not everybody is drama machine like you. Not everybody is a very tough skinned person like you. Right. So first understand yourself, first know how to balance things so that if you are trying to correct them, you're not trying to correct them like you are trying to correct yourself. You are trying to correct them because you know what their weaknesses is, or you know what their strength is, and this is how you think that they can be better. Secondly, it's crucial for leaders to model desired behaviors, simply stating a desire to be mindful, selfless, and also be compassionate, and compassionate is not enough. So it's telling us that being mindful, being selfless, being compassionate is not enough. Leaders must visibly demonstrate these behaviors, right? It is not enough to just say it. It's not enough for us to just come here and say it, but it must appear in our behaviors. It must be visible. It must show, right? Even in our organization, right? Even when our absence is not, I mean, when our absence is being felt, right? It will, I mean, those things, once it is being structured in that company, like just like the way we said, in some companies, right, in some advanced companies, you don't need to tell the reception this is how to behave. What you've conditioned them to see at the first instance, right, would be something that they will carry on and pass to other people, even when they are leaving, even when you're not around. So the third part here says to enhance also social cohesion, leaders should consider how to develop how people are engaged, how teams are recognized, how people are treated, and how caring and kindness are integrated into everyday work. So sometimes it's not, I know that things are not quite easy for everybody, but because of the whole working schedule and all that. So it's very, very important for leaders to, at least get feedbacks that doesn't have to be a pen and paper feedback. So it has to be a feedback that you are able to recognize how are these people working? How are these people in this particular team? How are they working? How do they pass on responsibility among each other? How are they delegating responsibilities? How is it being shared? Who is being deprived of, airing their opinion, airing their ideas? You need to spot out those things immediately so that, once those things are in check every time, every day, uh, it makes the organization, work seamlessly and, achieve what they want to achieve in very shortest time. So I'm also bringing this to a close with this also, which is some of the quick tips that we need to know are things that we need to also reflect on as a leader. Is that, firstly, leaders are encouraged to reflect on their organization culture and identify the barriers for optimal, performance. So what are the things that are challenging? What are the things that are eating deep into the culture of the organization that we think that it's very important to change now? Because if you don't change it now, right, you won't be there forever. So if it continues, would it be a thing that is an advantage for long term? So you need to consider those things. So consider also as well if organization core values need reinforcement, right? We do this a lot, right? This is very important. And I think as leaders, this is not even new. It's something that every leader, like in my church, we do have in my church, we do have this thing called, workers meeting every first week, every first Saturday. And what they always do in this is to always spotlight one part of the core values of the church, right? And they pick it from those. So we have an acronym. So they pick it could be one of the acronyms from that uh organization, or it could be acronyms from the core values that would be discussed on, right? And sometimes you can spotlight, random persons to just, okay, you tell us what is the core value of the church, right? So those things are also reinforcing in our mind, it's also, coming to our mind, and it's changing our behaviors as well. The third one here says, imagine your employees as family members and reflect on how you would want them to feel about working in your organization daily. If there is a misalignment, identify what could be change to increase compassion, right? So imagine them as your family members. I know that we don't used to like to imagine this kind of thing because some people will not even like their family members to work with them. We know that. But imagine that, there are people that, yes, you call friend, you call your paddy, right? How would you want your paddy to feel with you when you're working with them? Right? That is how you should see it, right? Uh, Fourth one says, consider practical ways that you can use to show more trust in people to catalyze and perpetuate a virtuous cycle of trust. And the fifth one says, reflect on how to enhance social cohesion at work, including how to engage people, recognize teams, treat individuals, and integrate caring and kindness into daily operations. And so in conclusion, a compassionate culture a compassionate culture deeply rooted in human care, trust, empathy is not just a moral imperative, it's not just a moral imperative, but a strategic necessity for achieving extraordinary results, engagement, and productivity. It also emphasizes that leaders must embody these values and implement policies that support them to foster a thriving, people-centered environment. The key word is, people-centered, policies. I mean, I can pick a lot of words here, but I think that going forward, going forward, what should be done after reflecting on those things is to see how you are able to implement policies actually, because once those policies come in place, it also helps the culture that has been existing already, and see a shift towards it. And I think a lot of people, yeah, especially if you're in abroad, you understand a lot of companies. I don't know. In Nigeria, yeah, it's still like some things are still a bit backward. some companies are already picking some cultures that helps the new generation to enjoy work nowadays with so many incentives, right? They are very funny. I mean, I've not been able to make my research, but I believe that uh we can do better by implementing policies and seeing how those things will come into play and help the new generation, because those are the people that are actually going to change the way the work environment to look like. So, and if we don't implement policy and we are still doing things the old way, we would have complaints and we'll keep saying the generation is this, the generation is that, right? So that's my own takeaway, and thank you very much. I would like to get everyone's opinion and thoughts from this book. Thank you once again, and I apologize again for not seeing my video. It's paining me like this because this thing is being aired on YouTube and my face is not showing. Right. Thank you very much again. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, David. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. First and foremost, as the tradition in the house, I think it's important to give David his flowers. Let's go to the chat room. David, that was a very wonderful presentation. Everybody know I have a bias for David. So, David, you have redeemed yourself in this particular presentation. I remember the last time you presented, you and I knew your presentation was not up to par because probably you were under a lot of pressure. But my goodness, I couldn't take my eyes off your slides. And I've been smiling as I look through your slides. I've just been smiling back to back. And I want to say this is one of the very best presentation slides that we have seen since we commenced the reading of The Mind of the Reader. I know we have boardroom members, so I would like to hear their opinion. The slide was rich, very captivating. It tells the story. I had the opportunity to read this chapter, and from the very first slide, I was mesmerized because it just goes to say that you were able to take the writer's concept into a different level entirely. And that was so beautifully done. So, David, well done. Let me give you my flowers and also my dollars. This one deserves the dollar gift. Beautiful presentation, David. Yes, that very first slide was everything for me. Um, Before I open the boardroom for commendation and input, I like to read from page 201 for those of us who have the hard copy. And there was something that caught my attention. The study that was done by Paul Jack, director of the Center of Neuroeconomics at Claremont Graduate University. He found that the culture we work in directly impacts our behavior and thereby how we contribute as leaders to that culture matters. In our discussion with him, he shared his finding on how leaders who exhibit compassionate behavior enhance the oxytocin level in the people they lead. Now, oxytocin enables higher levels of trust, foster kindness, and increase generosity. Who wouldn't like to work in such an organization where you feel compassionate and people you work with actually do trust you and are able to show kindness and also increase generosity? Who wouldn't like to work in such an organization? And so I'd like to open the boardroom to hear your thought generally on this particular book and also on David's presentation of the last chapter that talks about leading with a compassionate mindset. The boardroom is open for your discussion. Taolu Watoyi, you know I will call you first.
Please let me go last, please.
You want to go last? Okay. Let's leave the female and take the gentleman. Engineer
Okay,
Ken.
can I go?
Okay, you can go, Dr. Murayo. Sure.
Oh, I
Wow.
know you call it.
Thank you very much, David, for that lovely presentation. The book is a good read. It's something I would still love to, read again. And it has taught us that we all have to imbibe the MSc culture. That's mindfulness, selflessness, and compassion. With those three combo, we are sure to have success in anywhere we are in our family life, in our at work, in organization, anywhere we find ourselves. As a leader, if we embody these three components, I think we're good to go. So compassion for me is more of people. We have to be people oriented, not me, me, me. Let's put people in at the center of what we are doing. Let's have compassion, and we will see how we progress and be more successful. Thank you very much.
Beautiful, Dr. Murayo. Very well said. Thank you so much for your contribution. Bolu, the gentleman says they want to go last, so I'm going to, work in that order. Take the ladies first, and then we go to the gentleman. Bolu. Lady Bolu, are you here? Engineer Ken.
Good evening, everyone. Am I
Good
audible?
evening. You are audible.
Okay. David, that was a good presentation. Trust you. I go learn from you, especially the graphics, the slides. I go learn. Compassionate, to be compassion, or to have compassion. MSc, as Dr. Moraya just said, MSc. In fact, every one of us need to go back and get MSc. Mindfulness, selflessness, and compassion. Compassionate leadership in an organization, especially in this part of the world, Africa, where we believe that where naturally, maybe probably the salary you earn cannot even carry you through the month. As a leader, you have to be compassionate. You have to show compassion. You have to understand that the staffs you are working with are making a living and you don't add to their sorrows. So you need to be compassionate. We need to, those that need to be given opportunity to further their studies, you kind of allow them do that for a better tomorrow. Once you show compassion to your staff, the people you lead, definitely you get the best out of them. And in our society, in this part of the world, most workers, I would say, survive on compassion from the leadership. Be able to let some people go on training so that they can make money. Some of the people go to training, you see people only for training, not for the knowledge they will make, most of them, but for the little change to be able to pay school fee and house rent. So a compassionate leader in the 21st century is definitely the bomb. So this has been a wonderful book. As I said, every one of us should go back to school and get this MSc of the mind of a leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that thought-provoking contribution. Um, like you rightly said, and I want to echo, it's very important to imbibe, in the words of Dr. Morayo, to imbibe the MSc combo. Very important. Not just one. As we see that once you practice one of those acronym, it actually radiates. It's important to just be selfless in our leadership, mannerism, and nuances, to be compassionate with the people that we lead. So thank you very much, Engineer Ken. I know Dr. Bosoye is on her way, so she won't be able to contribute. Bolu, do we have you? Are you on? Hello, Bolu, are you on? If you're not, we will go to Saulu Watoyin.
Yeah, thank you, Princess. Good evening, everyone, and I'm sorry for postponing mine to the last. I was just multitasking and really wanted to finish what I was doing. So I really don't know how to give Mr. David his accolades. He's grown really fast. So and he started by saying he's humbled by being amongst, the giants. I think, by all standards, we can start calling you a giant as well. Basically, what we do here is to rub minds. What we do here is to empower ourselves. And this afternoon, you have empowered us. You have given us insight. You have, you have spoken like the the um the professional coaches will do, the coach Sams of this world, the coach Samiras of this world, the coach just
Bolu,
mentioned their name, Bulus of this world. So you've spoken very well. You've given us a real reason, to embody good leadership. And I'll say kudos. Thank you. I could see that, you are still in an environment where you have to present, even though you had other things to do or other assignments to do. Thank you for your, great leadership. You always talk about showing up. I think you showed up today more than anything else. I know this was last minute for you. I know, you had to put in a lot to get the slides and everything, and even to ensure that you get everything, details of the writer's perspective from the chapter, and which you very well, presented. You gave us every little detail in that chapter. So thank you very much. Okay, I think Princess has given you all the accolades. She's giving you the dollars, so let's leave it there. Okay, so I'll just speak to the topic, which is compassionate leadership, or leading our organizations, compassionately as leaders. For me, what stood out in the whole presentation is the fact that, this whole book is centered around, of course, the MSc leadership, just like Dr. Morayo said, and it is based on two key principles. One, which is, let's put it in the context of an organization now, because we are reading a leadership, business leadership book now. So let's leave it in that context of of an organization. And what the MSc leadership framework does is that it helps to alleviate the pains, the sufferings, the difficulties of the employee in order to drive growth, basically, of the organization. Because when we talk about leadership, we are there to ensure that the organization is in a good position, and we do that through empowering the people that we work with. So basically, this book has been very enlightening. This book has taught us how to show compassion to ourselves as leaders first, and in turn, showing that compassion to others around us. This book has given us a lot of exposition towards, ways that we can help ourselves develop these skills. It shows that great leaders do not just emerge. Great leaders, the other time I said, are great leaders being born or are they made? Of course, even if you are born in sort of, so to speak, in a leadership position, let's assume that you're from the royal family in England, they still put them through these rigorous training. They teach them about etiquette. Thank God we have Madam Etiquette online today. They teach them about, finance. They teach them about this and that and everything. And they teach them to be compassionate. You see them when they go around. That is what sells them as leaders, that compassionate outlook that they have, that people see them, the way they present themselves in public, the way they show compassion to people, and that is what makes people love them. So very important, if you are a leader, you are the CEO of your company, you cannot afford to sit on your high horse or to sit down on that very great pedestal to say, okay, this is where I want to be, everybody else has to be on the floor. You have to ensure that you are working hand in hand, hand in glove with your people, with your team, with your subordinates, to ensure that you're driving growth for the organization. And so I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
I cannot say anything other than that. So, Luatoin, you have capped the summary of this entire book. Like we all agreed, is being a very insightful, illuminating read for even for me. And I want to beseech and echo the voice of everyone that first we need to go back. For those who don't have the hard copy, I would see if I can bring in some of this book myself and Luatoyin. If we can bring in some of this book, I think we would request for those who want a copy. I know majority of the house read the ebook, so we may be able to get the hard copy. Kindly reach out to us so that we can make arrangement for you, and we'll deliver the book to you on our arrival. A big thank you to every presenter in the house. I think every one of us in this room presented. Um, I now realize on the timetable, Sauluwatoyin, that you were not scheduled to present. You only took up the part for, how did that happen? For Nancy.
Well, I did 2 presentations. I ended up doing 2.
You ended up doing 2, yeah.
I
That
thought
was
I could wriggle
interesting.
myself out of the mix, but then I ended up doing 2. And thank God I
So
didn't get co-opted into today's.
I know, right? I know.
When you were about
It was,
introducing, my mind was like, but Princess didn't tell me I was going to present, because she said I will now introduce the gentleman. I was
you, you were
already
waiting
having.
for it. You were waiting for it. All right, that was
Yeah.
brilliant. So a big thank you to all of us who presented and for the very first time went live on YouTube. I think it was a very good experience. Please go back and watch your video, learn from it, because the whole essence is for us to have something to go back to be able to learn. Go back to the drawing board, see where you make those mistakes and pick it up from there. There's quite a lot. Our voice, the way we see it on screen, there's so much to learn. So we just keep learning to ensure that, we pursue our goal, which is self-development. At the end of the day, I think we are almost getting there and we'll be refined professionals, you know, as the day goes. So it's been How many days we spent? We spent 13 days plus the first introduction of the book. Yes, so that's altogether 14 days for this particular read. And boy, new words, new vocabulary, new learnings. First time we're, you know, undertaking this framework called MSC. Now, so we know something new. So please go back, keep your book in your library. For those who didn't get to read the entire book, refresh yourself. We would announce our next read and also the new date. However, I think it's important to also make the announcement that we usually take a summer break. Now, Oluwatoyin, you remember we usually take a longer break during summer so that people can attend their children's graduation, go on vacation with kids, travel across the globe and not have to, try to join in for a section. We will announce that in the boardroom. We take it offline and make the announcement when we meet with the leadership team. On that note, I want to say that David, you kept to time. That was smart. So for the maybe second or third time during this read, we're closing at 10 at the dot. And I want to welcome you back, David, for your last words. It's a pain that your video is not on. It's really a pain because it would have been nice to have your face with your slides. But technical issues and it does happen. David, can you give us your last words, your key takeaway? David, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Your key
Good.
takeaway.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for the feedbacks. So my own key takeaway, right, is the fact that we've all said the MSc, so we should embody it very, very well. And most importantly, we should also understand ourselves, because that is most importantly, and then see how we can then be someone that is, people-centered, right? Because I think I highlighted it in my slide there. So we should see that we can also be people-centered. And when we are people-centered, it's not to just leave it at that, because on here people take privileges and people, maximize it to some degree that we don't like, right? But we should know how to, be people-centered and also know how to, merge those boundaries together. That's just my key takeaway. Thank you very much.
On that note, thank you very much. It's 10 at the dot from Dubai. So I'd like to say good night to everyone joining us and also joining us on YouTube. Good night, everyone. And for those in Canada, good afternoon. For those in Nigeria, good evening. And for those in UK, it's also good evening, right? Perfect. So, good night.